Right, welcome to the channel. I want to work out how much gas I'm going to use on a trip coming up. I'm going out for about 6 days. In that 6 days, I'm going to have 3 meals. I'm going to have some porridge in the morning. I'm going to have some noodles for lunchtime. And I'm going to have one of these freeze-dried meals for the evenings. I've looked through all the freeze-dried meals. I don't know if you can see here, but I have lots of meals. They're all separated into each day and an emergency pack for anything that happens. So 6 times 3, I need at least 18 burns on this, a couple of extra for a bit of an emergency case where I need some noodles or I need one of these as a spare. I've looked at all these. These take approximately 400 millilitres of water to make a meal. And all you do is open them up, you add the water, it's cool. So I've added 400 millilitres of water in here. I've got my scales here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weigh this very, very quickly to see what it weighs. I know how much the canisters weigh empty, and I'm going to see how much fuel is in it. So it's coming up at 355 grams. 355 grams. Okay, let's do the maths in a minute. I'm going to use the worst stove for burning and simmering that I can find. That happens to also be a titanium BRS 3000T. It's a super ultra lightweight burner. It doesn't have a simmer function, and it's not very good for if I'm actually cooking a meal and getting it to simmer and frying some eggs and all that sort of stuff. But it is good for boiling water, and it only weighs 27 grams and cost me about 18 euros. So pretty good burner, as long as you're only boiling water. So let's attach this. What I want to try and do as well is I want to do the worst case. So I know I'm in my kitchen, there's no wind here. However, what I want to do is the worst case that I can do here to make sure that when I go outside, I've got enough fuel and a little bit extra, like I said, for an emergency case. So I have a wind protector, which usually sits around the canister, and when I want to cook, it sits around the top. I obviously don't want to use that because that will give me a better burn rate anyway. I would also usually use a lid or a bit of aluminium foil on the top of the pot here, just to keep the heat in, and it'll boil faster. So I'm not using that today. What I am going to do is I'm just going to get my timer, which is here. So let's get the timer started and ready. And there's my timer, it's on 0. We'll see how long it takes to boil this. And afterwards, what I'm going to do, I'm just being careful lighting it in the house, to be honest. There we go. Get it on a nice blue flame. Should be blue. If it goes to the orange bits at the end, you're burning too fast. I'll just get that on a nice blue flame. There we are. And I'm going to start my timer now and put this pot on it. And then I'm going to time, see how long it takes, see how much burns are gone from it, and then I'm going to weigh the canister and see how much fuel I've got left over, minus the empty weight of the canister on it, and it should give me how many burns I can get out of a full canister of one of these. And then I know how many burns, if I can go to a smaller canister, if I need to use that canister, or if I need to rethink my cooking strategy, like use a different stove, something that's got a better burn quality and a better simmer rate. So, I'll come back to you in a second. All right, we're boiling, so I'm just going to stop my timer there. I'm just going to turn this off, because I only need to test when it boils too. Okay, it's come out as 6 minutes, 20 seconds. Not bad, but I am in the best conditions here. I'm not outside. I'm not going to test it for the moment. What I am going to do is I'm going to remove that and let it cool down. And then I'm going to weigh the canister. I can work out how many grams of fuel I've used, times it by my 18 meals, a little bit extra percentage-wise for what I need, and weigh and make sure I've got enough gas. Okay, I've let it cool down and I've got the gas canister here. I'm going to put it on my scales. If I remember, it was 355 before. Now it's 348, which means I've used 7 grams of gas. I'll come back to you once I've done the calculation on that. Actually, I won't. I'll do it on my phone here. So I've used 7 grams of gas. Get the calculator. I need 7, my eyesight's going, times 16 mils. I need 112 grams of gas. Plus, the empty weight of one of these is about 150 grams. If you go for that, you're always going to have a little bit spare in there, so just slightly under it. So 262 is what I'd need that at minimum to weigh for my 6-day trip with the 3 meals a day. Perfect. Yeah, so I have more than enough in there to cover me for all the meals I need. Okay, on that, just to re-note, on these gas cylinders, this one's a 220 gram, 375 milliliter one. 70% of the weight of this canister is fuel, 30% is the actual metal of the canister. So if you work it out on that, I know that this one weighs about 130, 140 empty. The rest is fuel. I can then divide by my burn rate, which I've just done, and I can see how many meals or how many times I can boil 400 millilitres of water for each packet of food. There's another couple of tips on here. I bought this pot stand or a gas canister stand. It weighs about 35 grams, I believe. Cost me €3. Just when the ground's a bit uneven when you're camping, you can put that on, clip your gas canister to it, and it keeps it a bit more stable. Obviously, as you can imagine, if I put a gas canister on there, then I put my windshield, I've got my cup. That is actually quite a tall weight, so spreading the weight at the bottom just helps you. I also use a lid, like I said before, cover it over, that brings my burn time down. The wind protector I use as well, brings my burn time down, but because I'm doing it in the kitchen, this is kind of ideal conditions, there's no wind in here. I know I'm only doing averages and approximates at the moment. And lastly, thanks for watching. I'll do some other videos. I'll do it on how I pack my food and things like that for the trips, how I separate it into daily bags and everything else. Click the subscribe button, click the like button, that'd be nice. I'll continue making some videos and show you what I do from the field. Cheers.